I gave the Qwen 3.8 preview a Blender challenge that looks nothing like a landscape, a game level, or a sketch-to-scene demo. The brief was a product-grade kinetic sculpture, 24 animated petals, 3 counter-rotating rings, a pulsing glass core, studio lighting, multiple proof renders, and a reusable Blender file. This is not a magic prompt montage. It is a visible stress test of planning, structured code, animation, and verification. The timing matters. In a July 20 YouTube search sample, new Qwen 3.8 hands-on videos were appearing only 10 to 17 hours after upload. At the same time, Blender agent videos were already attracting large audiences. One recent agentic Blender test showed roughly 280,000 views, and a local Qwen Blender showdown showed about 78,000. The obvious content gap is combining the new Qwen launch interest with a concrete Blender result instead of another benchmark recap. A useful agent test starts with acceptance criteria, not adjectives. The contract specifies Blender 4.2 and EV Next, with no add-ons and no downloaded models. The sculpture must expose named objects, editable animation curves, metallic and emissive materials, a controlled studio camera, 5 horizontal proof views, 1 vertical render, a 7-second animation, and a saved blend project. If any output is missing, the run is incomplete, no matter how impressive one frame looks. The boundary is important. Qwen can act as the planner and code generator, whether it reaches Blender through an MCP-style tool connection or produces a reviewed Python build. Blender is still the execution engine. It creates the geometry, evaluates keyframes, renders the frames, and stores the editable result. So the strongest proof is not a chat transcript. It is the combination of named scene objects, local output files, render evidence, and an animation that can be opened and changed. The scene is designed as a system. A radial loop creates 24 separate beveled petals. 3 orbit rings share a center but use different scale, tilt, material, and rotation direction. 2 strands of data beads form a double helix around the core. Helper functions create materials, lights, cameras, and output settings in a predictable order. That structure is more valuable than one complicated mesh because every part can be counted, inspected, regenerated, or parameterized later. Animation is where generated Blender scripts often become fragile. This build keeps motion auditable. Each petal receives the same 5 timing beats with a small phase variation. The orbit rings rotate in alternating directions over exactly 211 frames. The core pulse and camera path use the same frame range, and all major curves use smooth Bezier interpolation. Because the timings are explicit, a creator can speed up the reveal, remove a beat, or replace the camera move without reverse engineering hidden simulation state. A finished render can hide a broken workflow, so the verification pass checks 3 things. First, count the expected named objects, 24 petals, 3 orbit rings, a glass shell, a luminous core, evidence tiles, lights, and camera. Second, scrub the 5 keyframes and confirm the iris opens, closes, and changes direction cleanly. Third, open the saved blend file and confirm that the stills and motion render came from that scene. Verification turns an AI demo into a reproducible production artifact. Here is the actual local Blender result. The visual language is motion design, brushed metal, smoked glass, violet energy, warm gold accents, and a black product stage. The petals, rings, beads, lights, and camera are real scene objects. The animation is not a two-dimensional morph, and the vertical frame is rendered from the same project rather than faked by stretching the horizontal image. That is the difference between an attractive concept and an asset a creator can continue working with. The agent can accelerate structure, but a human still owns the consequential choices. Review generated code before execution, especially file paths, deletion commands, external downloads, and expensive render settings. Then judge the work as motion design. Are the beats readable? Is the camera too close? Does the glow crush detail? And does the material palette support the focal point? Finally, inspect topology and performance before calling any procedurally generated asset production ready. Speed is useful only when the result remains controllable. My practical verdict is that Qwen 3.8 is a strong YouTube hook when the video gives it a bounded creative task and shows the evidence. The durable value is not a claim that the model replaces a Blender artist. It is the ability to turn a precise brief into a structured first draft, execute it locally, and leave behind editable geometry, keyframes, and renders. Because the model is still being covered as a preview, keep capability and availability claims date aware. The complete Blender file, script, captions, and upload package are included here.